All right, let's set up this trailer so you see what you're working with. I have this locked up, but this is where the battery is. Plug this wireless adapter into the box. Push the button. Hold down both buttons on the remote. And this is what activates your winch to pull this target up. Now, sometimes it helps to guide this line a little bit so that it doesn't pop over on the winch and get your cable jammed up. And I just push it right up to this back support. Now, give me 1 second. This will come with it. I put this right over my logo and tighten it on here between the bar. And this is just a safety. Worst case, if that winch cable breaks, we don't want that falling on customers, so that's here for a safety. As you see, this trailer, I'll zoom in on here. You can go ahead and look up the numbers if you want to. The trailer is pretty new. I bought this brand new to build this on. This tire won't be with it because this is the tire for the backup on my spare tire on my truck. This tire does come with it as a spare tire for the trailer. Now, as you see the back of these, there's little holes through all of these. When we go around to the other side, you're going to see that that's where you knock out your target wood. So you unscrew these out of the back, and I have 12 by 12 end grain targets to pop these out and then punch these out with a 3/4 inch bar that I made up. Now, I do want to say another thing about this. You could swap these out to long targets if you really want. I just have end grain because they're very easy to stick. They last so much longer, and you can replace a 12 by 12 block so much easier than the whole boards all the way up and down. And like I said, in this box, I have the battery. All right, next. These are just boards that I have that I pop under my my jacks when I level out the trailer for events. It's nice, and I have these set here that I have 7 boards deep, so that middle on the top of the targets comes down, so the 2 sides hit here, and the middle, instead of bowing in, it comes down and hits on top of these boards so it doesn't sag anymore. This ladder does not come with the trailer unless you're paying extra for it. I use that ladder for way too much in order to just hand it off to somebody. If you do buy this trailer and you don't need all those extra boards, or you figure out a way to change out all these jacks, these scissor jacks, to something else, more power to you. This is just what I do, and I wasn't dumping a bunch of extra money into this thing. These are my steps. Depending on where I set up, I just find the most level spot to have people walk up from. Now, as far as this goes, and this is what, if I was keeping the trailer, I recommend doing. Right now, to keep the tension on that winch so it doesn't loosen up when you're driving, I do have to climb up here and put some pressure on this so that when you let this winch out, it doesn't untangle and get all loose. So I'm going to let this out. Now this back pad, you could lift up by hand, honestly, and just crawl between my fence and the pad. This just makes it easier and more suitable for anybody to set your trailer up. Another thing, I have the shorter trailer, so it does fit in some smaller places that these big long trailers that are 16, 18 feet long can't fit into. So you just have a little bit more maneuverability with the smaller trailer. As you see, I got this hooked up now to this eyelet in the back. Move this out of the way. But like I said, if I was keeping this trailer, we got that hook on there, I would just make a little bar with a hook that you can go up to and pull and bring tension on that winch line, this winch cable, so that you don't have to climb up there with a ladder and bring it right down. Same with when you're bringing this thing back up and you're lifting this back up, throwing it on the trailer, and unhook, same concept. You'll get to a certain point where you can't reach with your hand, and that way you'll just have a pole with a little hook on it that you can keep pressure on until you get up to the top there at the top of the winch. Well, let's let this thing out. Now when you get to this point right here, I always watch up and make sure that that line doesn't cross too far over to either side, that cable, to make sure it doesn't pop over and get jammed up. Now I'm to the point where it's about level, and this is where you got to be really careful, because you go from going out to pull this in, and it drops down a little bit. And now you're going out or in to drop it back down. Oops. Now let me pull this back up really quick and show you something. We'll get a close-up. I have these scissor jacks here, and my impact wrench will come with the trailer, so you don't have to buy a new impact wrench. With the socket, the 3/4 inch socket that you can level these out with. And as you see down here, I have 2 more of these, so that when you have 2 people on the trailer and it's a little bit heavier, you can level these 2 out first and have these 2 down here touch the ground wherever you're set up, so that you have supports down there in the middle too. And now that we have this starting to come up, you're going to see I do have 3 welded on brackets for this to turn on and off the trailer. Now for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to let these ones out a little bit. Now for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to let these ones out a little bit on the back side here. Just to, I'm not going to put all the supports on. I'm just setting up to show you how it's done. That's the impact that's coming with this. Going to let this out just a little bit more. Pop this off, and we're gonna bring this on up. Now this is, again, the point I'm talking about. If you have like probably about a 3-foot long bar with a little hook on the end of this, you won't have to even use this ladder to bring it on up when you're setting up the trailer. I pull this all the way to the top just so there's no tension and it's out of the way of the customers. I should say so it's not loose and there is tension and it's out of the way of the customers. Right to there. And then I get this thing off the trailer. Pretty simple. I put this board right, or this log right here in the middle, and this is where I put all my axes for people to throw. And it also gives a point for people to not go past. I let them go up to the grass, that's 10-foot line. I have a 12-foot line and a 15-foot line marked. Let me grab the camera here so I get you a close-up. So, like I said, this 15-foot line, you're not going to have people throwing from, but it gives a nice 6.5-foot end to the trailer so that people can adjust where they're standing to throw. Like I said, I put my hatchets or axes, whatever you have throwing, right there. I also do have knives that I just leave to the side. Now, and this is what I'm talking about. I have 12 by 12 end grain targets. I have somebody that makes these up for me. If you buy it locally, I can hook you up with him. He does ship even as far as like he's shipping targets wood all the way out to Vegas. Now it's going to cost you for shipping. But the reason I have this border all the way around is so my 12 by 12 middle target is dead center of the bullseye. Well, pretty close to it. From, you know, the bottom of the floor to the height, which is 64 inches, that's what you're looking for. And if you didn't do that and you put 4 boards across, so you were 4 across the middle, and 4 across the top, you would be getting the corner of the boards on all 4 of these in the middle, which defeats the purpose of only having to change this middle board regularly. I get about 20 to 25 hours of throwing on the middle board. These boards, they'll last me the whole season on the outsides. Sometimes I will flip them over depending on how much the kill shot's getting eaten up. And these ones on the top and the bottom in the middle, I might have to change out once, maybe twice throughout a whole season. They definitely get a solid amount of throwing. The trick is with the cottonwood to keep as wet as possible. And I've never had anything changing out on the top. It's been consistent through the whole time I've had the trailer. And same with these bottom boards. They're a little chewed up, but you know, there's hundreds, probably 300 plus hours of throwing on these things. And this helps with kickback. I'll show you this down here. This loose a horse matting. If somebody does throw low, those videos that you see with people kicking it, or the axes kicking back at them, I've never had one hit this bottom and kick back because there is that give. Now, you see there's no more than about a 2-inch, I do have this fence double layered, and there's no more than a 2-inch hole so that your hatchets, your playing cards, your axes, your knives aren't getting out throughout the trailer. And it's getting pretty worn out, but this is all bamboo at the top and chicken wire so that nothing goes out the top. And that's all the way across the top of the trailer. I do have some cross support so that when you're driving it doesn't wave too much back and forth since this is a tall trailer. You also do have your license plate on the side here and lights that do work. Turn signals, brake lights, running lights, they all work. I have lights across the side, reflectors and lights. And if you look up at top on both sides, I do have lights way up here too. Running lights way up there too. And this is up to you if you want to keep this, but I did this was fun. It helped my league players stay active in the league. When I do pop-up events for public events, I let people sign my trailer when they scored over 45 in a game or over 55. Up to you if you want to take that down. This could easily be converted into your traditional board targets if you want as well. And this is all set up if you wanted to take that down too and, you know, change it to your logo. I'll show you some pictures, but I'm not going to turn this on obviously because there's no It's not dark, but there is lights that go all the way across here that are red, white, and blue. All the way across. It's really hard to see in the light, but I do have lights that go all the way around the trailer on the top. All right, so I rolled in my stump, and I'm bringing my steps in right now. This is trailer breakdown. Now I will say, if you want target wood, if you want the 2nd grain target wood at my price, whatever we agree on the price of the trailer, I can get you a lot of this before I sell it to you, because you're not going to get the same price as I am. I promise you that. But that will be additional to the cost of the trailer. And this is where, if you make that hook I was talking about earlier in the video when we were setting up, it would be very ideal, instead of having to climb up on a ladder, to just grab that bar that has a hook on it and hook into this and pull it down. Because now, you always have to have a ladder with you, and sometimes it's kind of a pain in the butt to set up the ladder and make this a quick process. I will say, if I redid this entire trailer, I wouldn't have done this fold-out method. I would have bought the longer trailer, but this is what I have. This is what I have to offer, so I'm showing you how I set it up and tear it down. Hook it into this eyelet, put a little tension on it. Now I'm going to move this trailer just slightly in, so it's out of the way to start folding it up. Sorry, now I'm going to move this ladder off the trailer. And we're going to start to pull this thing up. Now when you get to about the middle point, you're going to have to push it a little bit, tighten it up, and reverse it so it comes in. And that'll let it right back down. Now this is where I bring this ladder back up here. Like I said, this is all avoidable if you just make a little 3-foot hook that has a little 3-foot hook that has a hook on it to attach to this or to this hook on the cable. We're going to loosen this up, unclip it, keep pressure on it, and tighten it back up. Pop that back down. Pop that in the trailer. Now, I will say there's a little green X on here. That's where these boards go. And again, remember, we put these boards here so that when we let the target down, it sits on that and doesn't sag in the middle. And how many, right? We do 7 boards. 4, 5, 6, 7. And the rest of them I just throw in the middle, way in the back. They've never came out, and I've taken this thing on over 2.5 hours away from my house. When it's closed up, they're pretty tight in there. It's not easy for them to pop out. All right, let's run to the back side of this and take it down the rest of the way. Now remember, before you let it down, you got to pop off this safety hook or the safety clamp. And I'm not walking it back to the camera, but I got to unplug my adapter. Excuse me. So that I can plug it back in to this side. Whatever this one's plugged into is the winch that's going to work. And we're going to let this thing down. Now, if you've ever worked with winch systems before, you know you don't want to keep them loose because they start to unwind and you're going to run into problems. So I go until it's completely loose, got some slack, and just give it a little bit of a tightening so that it's not loose and you just feel a little tension on it. But it's still sitting on all those boards and the 2 sides. Then we pop this off, and just like in the front, there's a little rubber thing that we close that so no water gets in there. And we're broken back down. It's as simple as that. If you have any questions, just give me a holler.